Alright, guys, sorry I haven't been uploading a lot lately. I was doing stuff. Half-Life, a game that I'm sure to most of you needs no introduction. Originally published in 1998, it was Valve's first video game. The concept itself is pretty simple. You play as the main character, Gordon Freeman, and one day you go to work at the Black Mesa Research Facility in New Mexico. You go to work and you enter the test chamber for an experiment with an anti-mass spectrometer, which is using an experimental specimen. Long story short, the experiment fails, and you enter a world in which all of the scientists are turned into these weird alien monster thingies. I don't know, I just started playing Half-Life last week, stop judging me. And as you might expect, because of my unhealthy obsession with everything space-related, there are rockets in the game. So, that's what we're going to be doing today, making the rockets from Half-Life and Kerbal Space Program Realism Overhaul. Alright, sorry I haven't been uploading a lot lately. Seriously though, I have a lot of videos that I'm making at the same time, and that plus the fact that school is ending, so there's a lot of exams and stuff, means I haven't been able to put out a lot of videos for the past 2 weeks. But yeah, expect more videos in the coming weeks. I'll try to upload like 1 or 2 a week, maybe even 3 or 4. But I don't know if I'll be doing daily. So yeah, I'm actually making multiple videos at the same time. You're seeing the Rockets of Half-Life video. I'm also making a video about the part 2 to that StarLearner video I released. I'm making a video about the Buran. I'm making a video about Mir 2. So yeah, I have a lot of videos coming out soon that I'm making. I'm like making 5 of them at the same time. So yeah, hope you enjoy the announcement. I'll get back to the time lapse. Alright, now time for the analysis. This rocket seems to very closely resemble a Titan II ICBM. The overall shape is almost identical to it, along with the paint scheme being pretty similar, and the size, shape, and engines all looking to be the same. In addition to this, the warhead looks identical to the warhead on a Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile, and the interstage looks pretty similar too. The main difference being the fact that the first stage has 3 engines, which based on the overall shape, size of the rocket, I can assume are LR-87s, which would make sense because this thing would have a pretty high thrust-to-weight ratio given the fact that it is a missile, and the fact that it is slightly bigger than a Titan II, meaning it might need an extra engine for the thrust-to-weight ratio. In addition to this, the second stage seems to closely resemble the second stage of a Titan II ICBM using an LR-91 engine, and it seems to utilize hot staging, based on the fact that most Titan rockets utilized hot staging for the LR-91, and this rocket is basically just a Titan II with a different paint scheme. Alright, well there's the analysis for the Half-Life 2 rocket out of the way. To be honest, I really should have done the Half-Life 1 rocket first, but I was too lazy and this rocket looked more fun to make, so I did this one first, despite it being literally the exact opposite of chronological order. Alright, so I just did a quick redesign of the warhead. I ended up putting a heat shield on the bottom, so that way if it were to flip around during re-entry, I could just separate, and then it might actually survive. So yeah, looking back, I probably should have used one of those curved cones fuel tanks for the part of the warhead because it goes in a little bit and then back out, which is what they did on the real Titan IIs. Anyway, here I just added the interstage from a Dnieper Russian missile, which is an ICBM developed by the Soviet Union. Anyway, I added that because I thought it looked about right and it would utilize hot staging, which A, I like hot staging, and B, it's pretty accurate considering the LR-91 would only separate using hot staging. Anyway, with that out of the way, first stage pretty simple. Fuel tank, some nice textures, and of course the 3 LR-87s that we talked about. So yeah, I'll let you watch the time lapse and then we'll meet you at the launch pad. Alright, here we are in the launch pad. To be honest, I probably should have stopped talking a little bit earlier because that was kind of anticlimactic because I just stopped talking a second ago in the time lapse. But anyway, successful liftoff. And here we go. You can see I angled the LR-87s a little bit out because I thought it would be more realistic. Anyway, I'll let you enjoy the launch, and I'll just come back when things start getting a little interesting. Alright, so I realize some of you might not actually know what hot staging is, but the concept itself is pretty simple. So you can see we're not quite out of fuel yet, so I ignited the second engine on the second stage so it gets ullage while the first stage is still burning, so that when it separates, it's already spooled up and we can separate cleanly. And it's that simple. That's what hot staging is. So, yeah. We had a clean separation, second stage ignition. We probably won't get to orbit because this is very heavily derived from an intercontinental ballistic missile. The LR-91 is only designed to ignite when the second stage burns out immediately after it burns out, meaning that we can't ignite the engine later on because we don't have RCS on the upper stage, also because the engine only has one ignition. So here we are in re-entry, and yeah, that heat shield didn't really work. Anyway, we still have one more rocket we need to build, and that's the rocket from Half-Life 1. It's literally just a Titan 1 with a slightly weird paint scheme and for some reason, a payload fairing on top. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Once again, one LR-91 engine on the second stage, 3 LR-87 engines on the first stage, seems to be a 2-meter diameter upper stage, and a 3-meter diameter first stage, both utilizing kerosene and liquid oxygen. So, it's pretty simple. Just gonna start working on the paint scheme. I actually ended up going with 8 sections for this fairing, so 4 of them could separate away so we could hot stage once again, because of course this engine relies on that. So, yeah, it's pretty simple, and that's what we're doing. As for the engine mount with the LR-87s, I literally just stole one from a Saturn 1B, shrunk it down a bit, and pretended like it worked. It kinda did. I mean, it looks a bit weird, but it'll work, as long as you don't look at the bottom of the rocket. And this was actually really easy to make, despite being really cursed. So, here we go. You know what's actually really funny is how the original missile that I made, the Half-Life 2 missile, is called Half-Life Missile 1, and the Half-Life 1 missile is called Half-Life Missile 2. You know, I really should have thought that through before I did that. Oh yeah, here we have liftoff, I guess, so that's happening. Anyway, what was I saying before I forgot? Oh yeah, we're gonna hot stage in a second. There we go, fairing separate. Oh god, I just separated the fairing too soon. Alright, well, regardless, this mission is probably gonna fail because we didn't get. Oh my god, an engine failure. Are you kidding me? Well, we're gonna have to redo this probably now. Anyway, so launch attempt number 2. Literally the same as launch attempt number 1, except for one key difference. It doesn't fail, hopefully. So yeah. Alright, well, we're only 20 kilometers up, and we'll 30, but we already have stage separation. And, I mean, not to spoil anything, but I think it's actually gonna work this time. Oh yeah, sorry that the recording in this video was kinda crap. I recorded the commentary at like 2 in the morning.